Okay, continue. Yeah, go ahead.
Let me just break it down. I'm gonna keep it 100 with this.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has a different journey. Everyone has a different set of circumstances. I can only give advice and speak from my life
Hold on,
experience
you're
and what
chopping up. You're
I.
frozen. You're frozen. Hold on, repeat that. You're frozen.
All right. Am I better now?
Okay, yeah. Okay, go ahead. You're frozen.
I can only talk about. I can only speak authentically from my real life experiences that I've dealt with from transitioning from bodyguard to actor.
Okay.
And let me just explain that journey very quickly. I feel that I personally have had a unfair advantage over many actors. Why? I worked around Hollywood royalty.
Mm-hmm.
I was behind the scenes just sitting there, and I'm not mentioning names because I have
Yep.
confidentiality agreements, but I worked around Hollywood royalty. And when you're around them, you see how they
They
handle
move.
situations. You
Mm-hmm.
see where they make mistakes at their level with multiple seven-figure
Yep.
income streams coming from everywhere, and you still learn. And they don't even know that I'm on a
Paint you.
show because they're
Yeah.
so busy working 16 to 20-hour days.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even know that the person that's watching them is on a daytime television
Yeah.
show.
Yeah. 100%, man. I hear
Real
that.
talk. A lot
No,
of
it's
people
true. I
have no
remember,
clue.
man. Because
So
you
the
know,
thing is this.
I'm sure when you
So
have
when
this.
I
Hold
work,
on. I'm sure you have the same problem. Like when you go onto a red carpet, and someone like you, like for example, you may recognize a certain photographer that knows you, and he knows you from a show, and he's like, "Hey, what premiere are you here for?" And you're like, "I'm just guarding that guy," like because they don't know exactly what they're saying, and you got to play it cool because at the end of the time, and especially like again, this is the thing that I give you credit for because you're one of the few people that understood the same way I did, where working in that game as a bodyguard, even though we were doing it, we didn't come dressed like one. Like we came dressed like the fucking star in the sense that, and a lot of times you would get that element where it's like, okay, you'd see a publicist and they'd be like, is that guy an actor? Is he a manager? Like what is he? And then that's where you sort of leave your imprint, where it gives them a chance to remember you every single time they see you. And then once they start knowing, okay, like this guy does a little bit more. And I think like you being a very knowledgeable person and being a person that, is all about growth. I think when you're able to, as you said, surround yourself with, you know, the greatest people in the industry. And I always say, you want to be greater, surround yourself with people that know more than you. If you surround yourself with the same people that know less than you, there's no growth.
absolutely.
But continue what you were
Um,
saying.
um, the unfair advantage I had was I was working with celebrities that I was able to learn from their mistakes
Okay.
and learn what to do. And I learned because of certain people I work with, their humility. A lot of the things I mirrored them. So when success started happening for me in 2009 when I booked, or 2008 when I booked Notorious B.I.G.,
Okay.
I had to step away from I had to step away from bodyguarding and make that decision because I could no longer do both because I was on the red carpet and they were like, "Yo, Suge." At that moment, I knew that I could no longer do bodyguard work.
Mm-hmm.
So I stepped away in 2009, and I've been, a working actor since 2009. I started work in 2005 in the industry with the
Mm-hmm.
commercials. 2009, 4 years later, had enough happening where I could step away from a six-figure income because I was
Mm-hmm.
working with so many different celebs. It was challenging,
Mm-hmm.
to say, "Oh my God, am I really going to sustain myself just on this acting income?" So since
Mm-hmm.
2009, I've been, a self-employed actor, which is a blessing. But using the experience working with the celebrities, I know how to be. And
Mm-hmm.
many people in this industry, they're still growing and learning and coming into their own. They don't know
Mm-hmm.
how to be when it comes to certain situations. They'll be around, they'll be, with the whole situation with a cast and just say one or two stupid things in front of an executive producer. And then I see them packing their bags, going back to New York or going back to LA. I've seen people who really thought that they were getting written into the show on the soaps.
Mm-hmm.
They thought they was hot shit and they were just throwing little jokes at me, not knowing that the executive producer had my back. And he
Mm-hmm.
would hear these things, and he would see little things that they would try to do to block, my gestures, the things that I would do on the show, or still certain ideas and certain things I wanted to do, as a what do you call it, as a tag, and they would go like this. I would see them just disappear. So the people who are watching, and I've just learned, if you learn how to play team, you could have a much longer sustained career instead of always thinking it's always about you. You have a place in the story. When it's your time, shine, give it all you got. But you don't have to shit on people, talk negative, be upset, have animosity. So many people make those mistakes because they don't know how to deal with people. So if they would really learn how to deal with people, they would get so much further in their careers and learn how to champion other people. And also, I like when my people tell me, hey, Sean, you could have did a little better. I love when I get constructive criticism. I just do the best I can, and that I can do in creating a character. That's all I do. And once I'm done with it, I forget about it. I'm on to the next. But it's really important. A lot of actors, I think, they make mistakes in the industry moving forward. When the money starts to come, they're not doing the right thing. They're not holding the money down to where, like, I know, okay, I have something that's coming up in a month from now. It might carry me for 6 months. You just never know when you can keep on going. But I made enough smart decisions with other jobs that I did where I can sustain myself for a year. I'm good.
You have to.
But it took learning and reading and being around the right people, because there's nothing worse than trying to audition for a job that you really need. You're desperate. You're like this. I've been there before where I'm like this. I'm just overselling and shit. Now it just seems like when you're not overcompensating yourself. They see, wow, this person's confident. They really don't care. If they can, use my character and they like what I bring to the table, good. If not, okay, next. God did not get you to this point in your life for him to say, I'm done with you. So I always remember that when, okay, I'll go through a streak of, I'm talking 8 to 10 self-tapes and nothing happens. People don't understand that shit is exhausting. It costs me money. I'm doing self-tape. I'm got to go drop my baby off in the morning. I got to go pick her up. I have to study these scripts, get on tape to keep doing that, paying the money, and then not to get the job. Most people don't have the backbone for this business because it's really not meant for everybody.
True, it's not, man.
It just really isn't. Many people aren't built for this shit because this shit is real.
Well,
to the limit.
As I always say, if you're not prepared to invest in yourself, why should someone invest in you? A lot of people don't understand that when it comes to the business, is that where they want the things, but they don't understand that the business comes with sacrifice. Like, you're going to sacrifice friendships, you're going to sacrifice relationships, you're going to sacrifice, your health. All these things are decisions that you have to make and think thoroughly through before you get into the game and say, okay, like, am I really cut out for this? And a lot of people, as you know, aren't cut out for it because they don't have the stamina, or they are always looking for somebody else to put in the work for them. Or you get the people, number one, that think that they're owed something. And it's like, this business doesn't owe you
There's so many
anything.
people who have that entitlement mentality. And look, I get it. I dig it. I got stories for days, man. And I could say shit that just would blow your mind. But I've learned I have no entitlement attitude. I'm serious about my business. When that comes up, I'm hard on management. You can't be afraid to know your worth and say, hey, this is what I want. This is what it is. And you also have to be willing to walk away from a job if you feel that you're deserving of more. You have to look at where you are personally and economically and saying, hey, can I afford to say no to this job? If it doesn't go against the grain, but you love the work, but you need the money, you got kids. Everyone has a different level of circumstances. It feels good to not have to worry about a bill. But there are people who are, still waiting tables, hustling just to, not be buried. So I understand that struggle because I've been there before, about 4 to 5 years ago. I understand the grind. Can't nobody tell me nothing. You know what I'm saying?
So for you, when it comes to, you get presented with the role, what makes you, what is the thing that attracts you to a role? What makes you decide whether or not this is the right role for me, what, that you want to take on? Do you have a process in that?
Of course, I have a process in that.
Okay, so
If I audition for the role, there are many auditions. My manager could contest to this. That I look at them like, that's just not me. I don't like the language. I understand it's a character, but it's just not who and what I am. I don't want my kid to see me saying or acting that way. That's me personally. This most roles that I'm offered, I like. I won't take something that I'm not enjoying to do. I'm okay. It's okay for me to say no. One of the best things you can learn in your life to do is to say no.
Say no.
So many people always want to say yes and be appeasing to everyone, to a production. I've learned there many times I was working on this show. I lost out an opportunity. Oh man, this was a killer. This bothered me. I know we're talking about the typecast role, but this was the biggest guest star role that I had. It was on FBI's Most Wanted. Last year I shot it. I couldn't shoot it. They changed the episode because they wanted me for this character. And I was shooting Family Business here, and they made an offer. You know that you're moving forward in the business when you start getting offers. So I got the offer. I looked at the script. I was like, oh, this is great. Like, I'm helping this guy break out of prison. I know all of his secrets, and I'm getting interrogated by these officers. Then COVID hit.
Yep.
I shot the episode, finished the episode on March 13th. Everything closed up like the 17th, and then they ended up not using that episode on the show. But then my manager gave me a good perspective. He said, Sean, you got paid for the episode. You shot it. It didn't air, but it gives you an opportunity because you weren't seen on the show to go into
bring you back.
Different.
Yeah.
So you just learn. But because it was a prison role, I was a little bit iffy about it. I was like, do I want to do this or not? But then when I saw the actors and it being all about me in the interrogation room, it just gave me so many different things to fuck with the different characters. Oh, it was a great situation. But I don't take roles that I don't like, and I know how to say no. So if I say yes, it's because I like it. I'll do it, even if it's not a crazy big role. I'd rather take a small role in a big movie than a shitty role in a independent all day long. You know what I'm saying?
Don't forget, guys, if you're just hopping into the room, welcome to another edition of episode 23, Hot Topic Celeb TV. You can find us right here on HotTopicCelebTV.com. Each and every Sunday service, Hollywood actors, producers, directors in conversation. I'm your host, D-Teflon on the MIC. Tonight, joining us in the building, Sean Ringgold from BET Family Business. So, continuing, Sean, you then, after that, navigated in the sense to being probably the biggest blessing, I think, for any person is becoming a father.
Oh.
And for you, obviously, most people in the earlier parts of their career usually sway away from starting a family that quickly because of the, as you know, the demand and the schedule and everything that goes along with being in a relationship and trying to juggle and manage. And this is an industry that has probably the highest divorce rate. For you, how was that transition from being, carefree and then all of a sudden being thrust into fatherhood, then thrust into, being a married man and all the things that come along with that, and then trying to balance a career in the industry?
All right. So when I found out I was having a baby, I always do something called mentorship. So I went to my friends who had children because I believe that you should get advice from people who are where you want to be in your life. Some people get the wrong advice, and that's why they go in the wrong direction. You have to. I would not seek, if I know my friend has been divorced 2 or 3 times, I'm not asking him for the information on how do I keep this relationship right, how do I be a good father. If I know this person's a deadbeat, they don't take care of their child support, they're not doing the right thing by their family, I don't ask those people for, information on, or what do you call it, advice whatsoever. So I went to people who I honestly respect and love that are actors and entertainers in this business that have families and they have a good unit. How are you making it work? I was scared to death. Why? Because it was unexpected. 2, now you have another mouth to feed and a lot comes along with it. In the acting world, when you have to just take care of yourself, that's good. But then when you have a family that you have to take care of, whole new story, my friend. Whole new story. Now you're like, dude, do I need to keep doing my entrepreneur and get back into this, get back into that. But I want to stay on course. Why? I want to stay on course because at this level, through the grace of God, where I'm at, one job can sustain you for 2, 3 years if you play your money right.
Mm-hmm.
One series regular role, that's it. You can be good, especially if you live within your means and you're not doing anything stupid and
Mm-hmm.
buying frivolous nonsense. You can be very, very comfortable. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people, they just go above and beyond. I don't have that problem because I was around all that shit when I was a bodyguard. And I had
Mm-hmm.
friends that got the roses and all that other stuff. So I don't need to buy it. I could borrow it. You know what I'm saying? My
And I
friends
see the
always
rise
got in
you
car
ride.
companies.
I
I'll
see
go and
the.
pay the money and rent it. They give me it at half price and I'm
Mm-hmm.
living life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to worry about, I'm going to go spend $250,000, $300,000 in that car. I stay within my range. My biggest thing right now is acquiring a home that I can really be proud of and that my family can grow into. So moving forward, shout out to my friend Dave Famiro. I was scared to death. Dave Famiro, he worked with me on One Life to Live. He was on Power. He was the
Hard.
detective. He's on the LA show with Gabrielle Union. He was
No, he's a great talent, man. He's a great. I've always loved his work for years.
my friend for 20 years. His wife,
Mm-hmm.
Melissa Famiro, on the Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Love them, my people. So I said to him, bro, I'm nervous. I don't know what to do. I'm having a kid. This is real. I was scared to death. You know what he said to me? I can't believe it. It was so beautiful. He said, Sean, God knows that you have another mouth to feed. Don't worry about it. You're going to be just fine. He says, God knows that you have more to take care of. And I was like, wow. It's not about me. It was about God sustaining me. All of a sudden, all these shows you started hitting. Boom. And I'm talking money, made more money than I ever made in my career. Started making money in 6 months than I did previously. So
Mm-hmm.
I've learned that we can't forget to trust in God. Many times we think that we got the answers. He has the answers. He knows what's happening, before we even know what's happening. He just wants to see how you're going to act under pressure. Are you going to throw your cards in? Are you just going to stay loyal and keep doing the work? And
Mm-hmm.
through the grace of God, man, these jobs continue to keep coming and everybody is great. Dude, I just remember he says God knows that you have more mouths to feed and he just continued to keep providing, but I continue to doing my best to be a good person and
Well,
just try to be a good father. And it's a lot of work, bro. It's,
what's the
it's a
thing though?
lot of
Being
work, but
like,
it's the best work you can do.
what is
Being
the
a,
thing like
being a
for you?
parent.
Like being obviously, at times being away, from your daughter, and obviously in the earlier parts, because when you got to book a show and you're off for a couple of weeks, or you're booking a movie and you're off for however long. How do you adjust to that transition? Like how do you balance that?
I'm going to give you the honest answer, man. I don't want to sound like a bad guy, but it's true. Because I'm a very hands-on father,
Mm-hmm.
every morning, you see I do the Instagrams. She's in the car. I pick
Mm-hmm.
her up. We go to the park. We do the ice cream every day. When I have a moment to
You're
be away for
present.
15 days, I start missing them about a week out when it's time to go home. But the first 2 weeks, because we have FaceTime, we have phones,
Mm-hmm.
I can see them. I can look at the cameras in the house, seeing them in and out of the Ring doorbell. It feels like I'm still there.
There.
I miss, when she gives me that look with her eyes like this. I miss you, Dad, Dad. The other day, she was, kissing my picture on the wall. I started crying. I'm like, ugh.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is a part of it. This is a sacrifice. You have to
Mm-hmm.
be, whether it's LA, Georgia, I have to
Work.
work and build a brand. That's what this is all about. And you want to sustain your family.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad that I did it when she was younger, so she's used to it. It's not the worst thing in the world, but I can't wait till I'm in a place when this COVID thing is done. I could have flown them out.
Mm-hmm.
On my days off, we could have, went, Laguna Beach, Newport Beach. I have friends all over the place. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I could have been down in Malibu, a million places I could have brought my family. When COVID is over, it gets easier because you could always just, hey, bring the kids. That's it.
Yeah. And now you
It's
gotta.
money.
Mm-hmm. So like
But
for
right now you can't because you're in the bubble. You can't have
bubble.
anyone come out, the testing, the blah, blah, blah. So I cannot wait when this is over because even if I
You and me both,
can't
man.
wait, we can just send the family out and travel and people can see each other. But for the most part, man, she's good. I check in every day. And it, being a father is a phenomenal thing. I would not be where I'm at in my career. It makes you more focused. You get past your own excuses because it's not about you no more. It's about you being a selfless person because you know you have a responsibility. Your kids didn't
Mm-hmm.
have to come here. Your actions brought them here. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, no matter what's going on, and sometimes kids make you want to just strangle them.
Did you I mean, even from time when you started, did you always see yourself getting into the acting game eventually? Was that your first passion, or did you have another passion and just sort of just, as you said, ended up in your lap?
I tell this in every story, and it's the God's honest truth. I grew up in Rockaway Beach. I have a love for the ocean. You know, the water sports, the jet skis. I'm an extreme. I jump waves 10, 15 feet in the air. You know, I love this shit.
Mm-hmm.
I was a lifeguard, and I wanted to be a firefighter. That's what all the guys did. I still
Same.
haven't got my firefighter. I wanted to be a firefighter because it gave you can work 72-hour shifts, have the rest of the week off. A lot of firefighters I know in Rockaway, they own shit. They have businesses in Costa
Mm-hmm.
Rica. You know, they've lived pretty good lives. I said, why not? Because I always wanted to have the freedom to do what I wanted to do. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 19 years old. After I
Mm-hmm.
finished doing construction, I never had a regular 9 to 5. I
Mm-hmm.
understood. I understand what it is to live because you can't die with anything. All you can die with is your experiences and the things you've
Mm-hmm.
done. Make a long story short, at BET, when I got put on TV, I just started. It was not. I wasn't taking it serious. I was just, you know, jumping around, having a good time, and da 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 da. And then before you knew it, I said, wait a minute, we're the number one show, and AJ and Free are giving me this publicity, and I'm trying to play my cards right and navigate through some of the snakes and try to pull you out of it and stuff like that. Man, once AJ and Free left and I booked my first national commercial, all right, this is the guy's honest truth. When I booked the Burger King commercial, I was working on Get Rich or
Mm-hmm.
Die Trying. I was doing bodyguard work. I was working for 50 at the time. Not for 50, the production company, the security company that was providing security for him on the movie. But he knew
Mm-hmm.
me from 106 in Park, so that's how we got to know. But who would think 10 years later, I'm working with him, more than 10 years later, I'm working with him on for life. It's just funny
Mm-hmm.
how God works, how things come full circle. He
Mm-hmm.
knew that I was trying to become an actor, and I was supposed to play that role that Omar got. Omar Benson, I
Yeah.
was supposed to play that character because my boy Tuffy, shout out to Tuff, he gave me the opportunity, but he said, Sean, do you have your SAG card? I didn't have my SAG card yet. But when I booked the Burger King national commercial after the movie, after I finished working, then I had my SAG card. So I wasn't able to get that role
Mm-hmm.
because I was still doing both. I was doing security and I was acting. And it was starting to become a conflict. Make a long
Mm-hmm.
story short, after I booked the Burger King commercial and I saw the money that started coming in, that's when shit got real. That's when, dude, I come from driving cab, lifeguarding, construction. I work for
Mm-hmm.
local 18A concrete cement. I know what hard work is. I know what it
Mm-hmm.
is to have, 15 or 20 number fives, 30 footers putting down slab, whether it's Zariga Airways, the Brooklyn courthouses. I did hard manuous labor. Nobody knows hard labor at
But
pure
isn't that the
rebar
business though,
labor.
bro? Isn't that the business of lay? I mean, it's sort of the blueprint. When you're building a house, you start with the layout, the blueprint of the plan,
Bro,
and then you
I
start
was a rebar
putting in the
laborer, the
bricks.
hardest work in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And back then, I was making $48 an hour. I was
Mm-hmm.
happy. I was like, "Holy shit! I'm a construction worker. This is great. I got an annuity. I'm doing it." Then I got hurt. But when I got that first check from that damn commercial, I'm not even gonna lie to you, bro. My life started with struggle.
Mm-hmm.
That shit got real for me. I said, I'm not playing. I started going to acting class. I started reading podcast. I was listening to anything and everything, surrounding myself with people. And then came the soap operas in 2006. But I
No, I
booked
remember.
my first commercial I went out on it was my first audition for a
Mm-hmm.
commercial. God blessed me and I booked it. It was the silliest shit, but they wanted me and I played Big
Yeah, I remember the
Pete's,
commercial. Yep,
the
I remember
chicken
the commercial.
fries.
Mm-hmm.
Then from there was Boost Mobile, Dunkin' Donuts. And then back in 2011, then I hit some more haymakers, Dr. Scholl's and Nexium. But the blessing, if I didn't see the money, that's where I feel like I have an unfair advantage. If I never saw the money, I would have probably quit. But that's why when I didn't get any commercials from 2008 to 11, I
Mm-hmm.
went out on at least 55, 60 auditions. None of it deterred me because I knew it was real. So if many actors in the beginning of their career didn't taste the success or taste the money or see the checks come into the account, come into your loan out, that's why a lot of people quit, because it's like, do they really feel that it's real? Can they sustain themselves for 2, 3 years with no type of real income? But I was fortunate enough to get that hit, and I'm grateful to God for it, because if I never saw that success, if I never saw that check on the first commercial, nobody could tell me nothing. It was more money that I'd made, like doing odd end jobs, selling motorcycles. I'm talking like the first check was like
Mm-hmm.
$14,000. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
what the f-
So I mean,
And then it came again. They kept like 2, 3 checks were coming every week for that one quarter. I was like,
mm-hmm.
God damn,
Mm-hmm.
what a blessing. That was the blessing. I would not be here where I'm at if I never had those success on those commercials, because I probably would have quit, because I like getting money. I like being, I don't like struggling. And I've struggled in this business. It was a time I struggled.
Well,
And
I think that you have to struggle to appreciate what I always say. Like people sit there and say, like, people will say, "Hey, D, you're successful." And I'm like, no, I've always looked at success is something that is when you're done. Like when you've hit every mark that you wanted to do in your life, that's success. To me,
exactly,
I
not
look
a
at my
roller.
life and my story, which is similar to yours. It's not successful, it's progressful. Because if I didn't go through those struggles, I wouldn't know what it feels like to fight for something, to want something, to earn something. I mean, I can't do a job, no matter what it is, if I know I haven't earned that job, if I haven't earned that spot, if I know that I'm not giving my all. And that's why for me, like I treat every edition, every job, every project, everything like it's my last. That's my mindset. Is that this could be my last. So if I was to leave the world today, I want to leave a mark in some capacity that someone says, hey, like when we just lost DMX. He left a mark. He left an impact in the world. That to me is the goal of success. So for you, like for someone, and everyone has their own story, and you've been sharing your story. If you were out there to reach out to a younger actor or a person that's inspired to get into the business, one, what advice would you give them? And two, considering that you've worked in all mediums, commercial, daytime, prime time, and film, what for you was the harder medium to work into between those avenues of acting? And what would you say has been the biggest struggle or hurdle for you in those four mediums of daytime, primetime, commercial, and motion picture film?
Make sure that anyone that's aspiring to be an actor or be in entertainment business or director, producer, make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. Are you truly passionate about it? Because most people, like I said, when they see the level of resistance that they're going to be met with, they crumble. Most people, that's why, there's, I forgot the percentage of people that only make a certain amount past 6 figures, because most people in the beginning can't deal with it. I dealt with it during the middle, not at the
Mm-hmm.
beginning, because I told you I got money from my commercials. That was, I'm very grateful to God for that. Like I said, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that. I don't believe I would have probably quit, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
quit at anything. I'm very you know I don't quit. A lot of people doubt, and I just smile, and then they see a posting, they're like. But anyway, moving forward, they have to do it for the right reasons. They have to want it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, have thick skin. There's a book that I read called Rhinoceros Skin. The amount of rejection, that's a part of it. Surround yourself with supportive people. Make sure, if you can, in the beginning, if you know that this is a journey that you're going to be pursuing, try to be smart with your money. So when money isn't coming in, you're not distracted. Because when I got One Life to Live, I shouldn't have got that either. I had just
Mm-hmm.
finished working at Club Cheetah, not Club Cheetah, at Club Esso. I can't remember the club I was working at. LQ, Latin
Mm-hmm.
Quarter. I needed a black mock neck, and I didn't have one at home. I got out of work at 4 o'clock in the morning. The audition was 9 o'clock at ABC Studios. When I tell you I was dead tired, and these are things that I'm putting in my book that I don't be telling people because a lot of people, when I talk about success is built on inconvenience, they have no freaking idea. So I'm working, at the club, at Club LQ in Manhattan. I have this audition that I have to do, and it was just under 5 lines. I was nervous. It was my first time going into a corporate network building like ABC. I'm like, holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
I already booked the commercials, but this was, this is now acting. Like, commercials wasn't a really big deal for me. I just said, act funny, act silly, that's cool. But now we're talking about memorization, being, in the scene. So I couldn't find a mock neck. I went to the most expensive place because they were opened at 9 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Rochester Big and Toll on 6th Avenue. Anybody knows that place? It's expensive as hell. That mock neck, I think I still have it because I saved it because people would never know how I got I believe that when you walk in the door, you want to be that character. That's
Mm-hmm.
what I do. I speak
Mm-hmm.
for myself. That thing cost me $200 and something. It was my money that I made from.
What was it, cashmere in that mock neck?
Yeah, it was. I like nice shit, bro. You know that. I want them to come and say, "Wow, this guy looks like the character." So I buy this mock neck, find parking, get inside the thing. Dude, I forgot under 5 lines. I said a couple of lines. I was like, "Wait, do it again. One more time. I was so frustrated because I was so tired from the night before.
Mm-hmm.
The same day, I didn't sleep. I said to her name was Tori. Her name was Tori. She was a casting agent at ABC. I said, look, I cursed at her in a nice way. I was like, look, I do this shit for real. This is a bodyguard role. I live this. Look at my website. Look, I just finished working at 16. I worked 16 hours. I haven't slept since yesterday. Look, this is easy for me to do. I just really need to get sleep. I was so beat, bro. I walked out. 20 minutes later, I got a phone call from a manager. You're the new bodyguard on One Life to Live. The rest has been history. Who would know that I would have my poster or my picture downstairs next to Whoopi Goldberg and the whole thing in the view in the lobby? Who would have ever known that it would have ended up, like I said, 7 years, 198 episodes? But God honors commitment. A lot of people forget that. You don't have to be perfect. Sometimes I don't even know how I got that. Most people said, wow, he was unprofessional. He said, I cursed, and which I don't advise to do in a casting. And I was like, I do this shit for real. She must have felt it. I'm like, this is nothing. I just haven't slept. I can't even remember my name right now. I said something like that. She laughed. But I said, this is easy for me to do. I can do this with my eyes closed. And I got the role. It was a blessing. I love Tori forever because somebody else could have took it the wrong way and then call me back. So I would say anybody going into this business, you have to go above and beyond in order to get to where it is you want to go. Be around the right people. And like I said before, make sure you're doing this shit for the right reasons. So many people aren't doing it for the right reasons, and that's why they quit quick. They quit. If you're passionate about it and you know that you have a place and that there is a place for you in this industry, but then I hate to say this too, man, because everybody can't make it. I have some mentors that really, bring some real shit to me, man. Not everyone is built for this. So many people, they're not comfortable enough in their own skin. They're not coming off natural on camera. A lot of people just can't deal with the rejection, and they care about too much about what their family thinks and how their family feels and their friends. And
social media.
They try to measure themselves up to other people. That's their downfall. And that's why they're not where they want to be.
Well, the thing, people have to be what I always say, their authentic self. And I say, like, when it came to 2020, the craziest fucking year we ever had, I always say many times throughout this whole span of COVID that 2020 needed to happen. Like it was something that needed to happen, not only for the world, but for those people who don't go for their dreams, don't go for the things they want. Because before COVID, everybody was moving at a fast pace. So it's like you get the people that say, hey, I always wanted to act, or I always wanted to model, or I always wanted to do this. But then they find some excuse. Oh, well, I can't do it right now because I got this to take care of. Or I can't do that right now because I got this to take care of. But I'll do it tomorrow. And then that tomorrow never happens. And then 2020, it forced everyone to stop, pay attention. And as I say, 2020, the definition of it is exactly what it is. I wear glasses to see. It gives me clear vision. The clear vision.
I wear glasses to be cool.
And you got a pair of glasses I still going to rob from you from back in the day. I still got to take there's a pair of yours. No, there's a pair of yours I keep asking you for. I've been asking for it for years. I still want it. It was from the Emmys. I remember from the Emmys you wore it. And I was like, yo, I'm going to take that suit. I'm going to take those glasses. It was the silver suit that I still want. Remember your silver one from the Emmys?
That was Rocky Trigami made that. He's out here in LA. We just ordered a suit for him for a scene that I'm shooting today.
Well, you need to tell that guy to hit me up at DTuffLon on Instagram, because
you got to come to LA. Let him fit you. You got to. When I'm
back in Los Angeles in the sense when we start shooting again, I will. You got to tell me exactly, and he will be the first stop that I make.
I'll send you information. You funny dude, man.
But I was saying, 2020 was an option of clear vision that when it came down to the point of everyone had to stop, a lot of people who, as I said, were moving at that fast pace, now when they're sort of forced to be in technically four walls, they don't like what they see. They don't, and I always say, it didn't take coronavirus for people to wear masks. People were wearing masks their whole life, masking themselves from their potential, masking themselves from being authentic with who they are. And as you say, as an actor, we're giving our most vulnerable self, and my mentors always said, real actors don't act. They feel. They feel the scene. They feel the emotion. They feel the realness of, as you said, when you take a role and you're deciding, okay, whether this is the right character for me. If you're not being your true authentic self for yourself, your performance isn't going to be what you want. And that's why I always tell people, if you really want to get into the game and really study the game, start off in theater. Because you know as well as I do, there's a huge difference between a theater actor and a scripted actor. There's guys that just read lines, do the line, and then they just do it. But then there's other people who come from that theater background, that instant, have just like daytime. You had that preparation, one takes, not 50 takes like in prime time. You got that one take to get it done because time is money. They got to keep things moving because they're on a smaller budget. So they got to make sure that there's not as many reshots and retakes where you have that freedom per se in prime time or a motion picture film where things are a little bit more relaxed per se. So for you, as I said, what was the differences for you and which was the harder medium? The commercial, the daytime, the prime time, or the film?
Daytime got me prime. Daytime was the most challenging, but it gave me, I wouldn't be where I'm at in my career if I wasn't able to work with such pressure. Because to me, prime time and movies, in comparison to soaps, people, if they didn't work in that medium, they could not understand. I impressed myself because I didn't even know that I could remember so much. And it's because I had great people around me supporting me, saying, you can do it, you can do it. I grew up in an era back when I was coming up where kids would call you stupid, you're dumb, blah, blah, blah. I was that kid that, oh, you're in special ed. When I do motivational speeches in certain schools, I say, hey, anybody here in special ed? Come on, raise your hand. And I raise my hand like that. They're like, whoa. Because so many people let people's perception of them become their reality. And I went through challenges growing up, but so many people would try to make you not feel as if you can't make it happen. When you have the right support. So many people also don't make it because they don't have the right support team, bro. They had the right support team letting them know that, hey, you can do this. You can handle this. I'll give you an example. When I was looking for a character for this show in season 1, and I was trying to find somebody. So I'm not going to blow him up, but it was 4 pages of dialogue. My friends, he would have been perfect for the role. He would have been perfect for the character. I sent it to him. I didn't hear anything back. And basically, he would have been placed in this show for that role, but he folded under the pressure. He saw the dialogue. He saw the monologue. He folded. So many people will talk, and they don't have the belief in themselves. And sometimes that comes from childhood. you need to have a certain level of confidence to survive in this medium and
Hmm.
trusting God. But I would say the soaps gave me the skill, the confidence, the ability to be able to handle prime time and then movies because they move so fast. You have to remember so much. Then you get to prime time, it moves so slow in comparison to the soap operas.
Hmm.
So I hardly ever really feel pressure
Hmm.
because I will never forget how fast, and you only had one or two takes. And sometimes I've made mistakes that they can't go back because the
Hmm.
unions, they got to have lunch.
Yep.
They can't, you can't mess up. If you
Yep.
mess up, it's going to be out there forever.
And
It's,
you'll be
it's
a
going to be on
rat. You'll
TV.
be,
No,
and
people
that,
make mistakes all the time. They're human, but meaning that you have it, unless you're from the soaps and, we're a prime player and you understand what it is that you have to knock your shit down.
but as you know, I mean, there's so many, there's so many actors that start in the soap world that leave or take the chance, the leap of faith to jump into prime time. Some successful, a lot not successful. So, like for you, like, did you feel any pressure per se, like of when you made the jump from soaps to prime time that like this may not work out? Did you ever have that self doubt, like this may not work out for me?
I hate to say it, bro. I don't hate to say it. I'm gonna keep it 100. I was a beast, bro. When I was on the soap opera, if you now you want to get down and dirty about it.
Mm-hmm.
When I was on a soap opera, you're not supposed to audition for anything else. But before I was put in contract, even when I was in contract, I broke the rules. I'm not used to being held in any type of bubble. I broke the rules. Why? Give
Mm-hmm.
me an example. I had an audition for another commercial for the Nexium commercial while I was working on the soap operas. In between my lunch was 1 hour. I jumped in my truck,
Went to the
shot
next.
down to Beth Mowski on 15th Street, did the audition. I let them know I was coming in hard and I needed a hard out. Did the audition, came back, and just made it back to set in time. You're not supposed to take those risks. Anything
Mm-hmm.
could have happened. And dude, I took those risks quite a bit, and I was
It,
very lucky. Then I got the J-Lo commercial with the cars. I was doing stuff and ending up on commercials on my show. So I'll be on One Life to
mm-hmm.
Live from 2 to 3 p.m. on Channel 7. And then they were like this. You didn't have some permission for that commercial. I'm like, I shot that a while ago. And then it would just be airing. Then they would
Mm-hmm.
then the producers from the commercial would say, "Oh, you're on the soaps." So they started deliberately placing that commercial because they knew they could grab that audience between 2 and 3. I did
Mm-hmm.
shit like that I did that stuff all the time.
Same. You have to be a rebel, man. You
But
have to be a
but
rebel to
being
stand out.
but what really helped me was, let me tell you, the biggest, when I really got through this situation, I got to thank the executive producer, Frank Valentini, for this. Because when he came around, man, my heart was like this. He just gave me that look like this. Let's go. And like people, when he comes through, they part the Red Sea. So he's now the executive producer of General Hospital. I got mad love for him because he helped my career. And anyone that's helped me, I'm always appreciative of this. So make a long story short, I went out for an audition for Ugly Betty. I don't know if you remember, I did that with
Cool.
America Ferrera. I
Mm-hmm.
was working on the soap opera. That's a primetime show. I had actors on the show that would love to be able to jump and go to prime time, but
Mm-hmm.
they couldn't because they were in contract and
Contract.
they were stuck. And you can't be on two same shows sometimes on the same network. Sometimes they
Mm-hmm.
frown on that. So what did I do? I actually got the job. I did the scene, I did the audition on a lunch break on One Life to Live. They said you got the role. I didn't know my schedule from week to week. I was always made myself available for them when I wasn't in contract. So when I booked a
Mm-hmm.
lot of these other shows, I wasn't in contract. When you're in contract, you're not supposed to, you have to ask for permission to do everything because it's the network, and Ugly Betty was on ABC. So
Mm-hmm.
I got the role. I shot the role. I shot the thing with America Ferrera. You're talking daytime, a certain demographic with a certain amount of people. Prime time, 9 o'clock, you're talking millions.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, dude, the respect that came on my name, you know how they say put respect on my name? When that shit aired, and I don't think I was really rocking the social media like that. The next day I came into work, the respect from all the big principal actors that were on the soap opera were like, when did you get that role? When did you shoot
Mm-hmm.
that? I was like this. A long time ago. I was lying. That shit was... But the blessing was that they saw that I was grinding, and I was on a platform, a primetime platform, that they haven't been on, even though they were on the soaps for 10, 15 years. They could never break that mold of getting out of the soaps. They couldn't get to primetime. And here I am, recurring at the time, and then here you see me on a role that's like 2 minutes and 51 seconds on primetime. That's a lot of time. So they were like, oh, shit. So then when that hit, the executive producers, everyone sees that, they started writing more for me. When I booked Notorious B.I.G., then they were like, yo, sure, congratulations. Then they started writing more for me. Why do you think that whole situation happened with Snoop Dogg coming on the show and my storyline? He's like, yo, Sean, Suge Knight, Snoop Dogg, Death Row Records, they were putting all that language inside the show and with my family. That wasn't an accident. That was by design.
How was it like for you? How was it like for you? I mean, obviously that was an iconic role. What was it like for you playing such a notorious, I wouldn't even say legend, but gangster in the sense of that, in the hip hop world at that time, and playing that type of role? Did you figure that role would because again, a lot of people when as you said, picking the right role, not getting typecasted, and that's a heavy role to take on, and then try to do a love type of lovemaking role after that, of playing up a character like that. Like how do you flip from the script from that?
I mean, I got to be real. It wasn't hard to prepare for that. I put on some weight. I shaved. I had a real low haircut. And, I've been to California bodyguarding. I looked up as much information on Suge as possible. I spoke to people that were close to him to get a real perspective of who and what he was and the tremendous, man that he was in the business at that time. And it wasn't hard for me to fall into that mold, because our lives were somewhat the same. Before it became an executive and a CEO of Death Row Records, he was a bodyguard for major stars, Bobby Brown, I believe, and some other folks. So I already lived that life, and it really allowed me to be a menacing son of a bitch, within that, within the character. And once it was over, it took me a little while to get out of it because you start really getting into it. You can lose yourself in a role, and then I just went back to being the nice Sean that I am, or the character, because I know what works and I know what doesn't work. So if I start deviating away and being something that I'm not, I have to keep getting. I have so many different type of diverse roles that I get because I'm cool. I'm light. I can be funny, comedy. I can cry on command if I need to. I can do all that. So being a big tough guy, I got out of that character pretty fast, and I just wanted to keep on working and use the momentum of that, to keep putting myself on the screen, because it's about consistency in this world. It's about, going from one job to the next like that. Then came Luke Cage, later on, and that was a blessing. And it just, and then
I know you worked on Uncut Gems. How was that experience working with Adam Sandler? There's such a legend and an icon in the industry.
I was a groupie at first, man. I said, look, man, let me talk to you. I said, let me talk to you, man. I love you from, remember that movie he did with, was it Samuel? Not Samuel Jackson, where he lost his family. Oh man, he did such a great role. His family died, and he was going through mental challenges.
I'm trying to remember
him and Don Cheadle. I forgot the name of the movie.
Okay.
But I told him his performance was so riveting, and he's so humble, nice guy. We ended up, if you saw, I have some videos down on my IG. We're all dancing in the hallway to that song from The Weeknd. I feel it coming. We're just dancing. Such a humble, down to earth dude, man. But I heard nothing but good things about him. But I was supposed to get that role that Vin Raines got. That was a pivotal moment for me as well. Let me tell you why. If you remember that movie, I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry.
Yep.
I was supposed to play Vin Raines' role, but he got the role. So when I found out, because I went into this character, I was like, and then Adam Sandler, when I found out it was Adam Sandler, the casting director brought me back the very next day to read for the director. I wasn't ready. This was 2007. Man, when you talk about I buckled, when that director started giving me different notes on what he wanted to do, I wasn't ready. I was scared to shit because I found out that it was opposite of Adam Sandler. My mom was like, oh shit, this is a game changer. Oh my God. I was just in the soap operas for 1 year, 2006. So I was going on some film auditions and shit. I was like this. I was like, oh, because I really nailed it. But then when
Mm-hmm.
the director, I went in for the director, bro, I froze. I was like, this. You have those days, man, where you just like
Yeah.
buckle under pressure. But it was in God's will. I get it to work with him, and I have a feeling I'm going to work with him again. You know what I mean? With A24 Films, and it's just, I'm a networking dude, so I connect with
Mm-hmm.
everybody. Every set that I'm on, I connect with the producers, the directors. We lock in. I see what they're doing, and I stay connected. And they need talent, and I try to be there. And if they need me on a producing level, I try to be available for them in that capacity as well. So, my brother, I
So
love
you
you,
just, yeah,
but I got to go.
we're almost done. So I want to get into lastly, in a sense, both shows. So you went from obviously a blessing of being on two iconic shows recently, from For Life and now Family BET Business. Um, what was it like, and what was that experience like working on a show that comes from a real life true story in For Life?
Oh man, Isaac Wright Jr. God bless him. He's running for mayor at the moment in New York City.
Oh, I didn't know
Really,
that.
yeah, beautiful dude. He went through an injustice that so many people here in this country go through, and they wrote a book. They turned it into a movie. I guess
Hmm.
50 got the rights to it, and then Hank Steinberg got a hand on it, and here we are. He was wrongfully imprisoned for a kingpin law that was set to keep people locked up, and he got through that, and he ended up becoming an attorney, and then the judge, I believe, got arrested, and the DA ended up taking his own life, the one that wrongfully prosecuted him, and then he started, helping a lot of people out in the prisons as well. So to play a correctional officer, that was easy. I got a ton of friends who are cops and correctional officers. To be a big badass, those characters to me are easy because we watch all these movies. Those type of roles to me are easy. Whenever
Hmm.
I'm just being real, those are no problem. But it was great. The people that I met on the set, you know, was really phenomenal. Like Nicholas Pennick, who's the lead, and building a relationship. My boy Dorian Mystic, it's a blessing. My man Hassan Johnson,
Hmm.
who played what do you call it? I think
You
it's
don't need to tell me who he's an icon, bro. He's the icon of the streets.
that's
Period.
my family, man.
That's an icon of the streets right there, my friend.
That's my boy right there. So I met a lot of people, and these people work on other projects. So when you do good work and they like your work, sometimes I'm not stressing stuff because I know that there's certain things coming down the line, 2 3 months, that I'll be placed in. A lot of work that I
Did
get
you
now.
audition for that role, or were you presented with it?
No, I auditioned for that.
Okay.
I auditioned for that.
What
But it was the
attracted you
same.
to
But
that
it was the
role?
same. But it was the same. See, the thing is also it's important to have relationships with the casting directors because the casting director on that knew me, casted me for Luke Cage.
Okay.
So when a production company says, "Hey, we're looking to put this together within 10 days. We're trying to put this cast together because we need to get this green lit and it's ready to go," then all of a sudden the casting director will say, "Who do I know fit this character? Team player, blah blah blah." So that same casting director, thank God, Julie Sherbert, love her. She's the one that made the phone call, and then once they noted, then I see, what do you call it, George Tillman Jr. He directed me in Notorious. He
Hmm.
directed me in Luke Cage, and now he was directing this. Your chances go up because then that
Hmm.
person's voucher saying, "Hey, this dude comes to work. He does his things. He hits his points," and he basically validated, for God willing, I think he did or whatever. But I got the role.
Hmm.
But it's a lot of this is about relationships too. A lot of people may not want to say that, but it's true because if you
Hmm.
do the right thing when you're on set, you're not a pain in the ass. You do good work. People they want to move the story along, and you're there, and they don't feel like you're there. They're gonna remember that. That director has a
Hmm.
job and he has a budget. You can't be holding shit up.
Hmm.
They'll remember you on the next job. They're like, boom. It just that's what's happened. A lot of stuff I didn't get, but the stuff that I work on, I'm seeing a lot of the same producers and
Hmm.
directors, and you got to stay in contact with them.
Yep.
Send text messages. Hey, what's up? What's going on? How you doing? How's your family? And genuinely can connect
Care.
for a drink. Go over their house.
And
But a
that's
lot
something
of
that people in the business don't do. I mean, I think, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that people don't properly build the relationships that they should, because again, everyone's always like, oh, I'm busy, and that's why even when it comes to like certain people in our industry that we've lost,
People make time for things that are important to them.
exactly, that's exactly what I was about to say. Period. You know, there's no excuse for it. So like for you, from balancing from that, then you landed now this, you know, beautiful role. Tell for the people who haven't seen the show, Family BET Family Business. Tell them about it. Tell them about your role and your character on the show. For those who haven't seen it.
We're a drug crime family, but we're sophisticated. We look good. We put on suits. We're the best of the best. We have an exotic car dealership that we run during the day, and we push, unfortunately, a drug called heat at night. And we're connected to all different levels of organized crime, but we also have a lot of different holding companies, assets, businesses that we run, and it's all legitimate. And there's sex. There is all types of stuff going on, you know, treachery, betrayal, things that people love to watch on TV. But it's black folks that love each other. We're a family, and it's getting real. We're here on season 3 right now.
And who is Junior Duncan?
Show on BET Plus. That's what
for those who, yeah, you play Junior Duncan. So for those who don't know your character, what is Junior Duncan? Who is he?
Junior Duncan is the eldest son, who is son of L.C. Duncan, who's played by Ernie Hudson. Valerie Pitterford plays my mom. Darren Henson is my brother. Javicia Leslie, she played Paris, but she's now moved on. She's Catwoman on CW11. She's doing things. Tammy Roman, she plays London. She's my sister as well. My boy Arrington Foster, who he plays Rio. It's a great cast, man. It's a phenomenal cast, and I love working with this crew. It's a family. You can just see it.
People have compared it to being the new Empire, like the new Empire. What would you say the difference is between the shows?
Ain't nobody singing on this show. Nobody's singing a song.
But besides the music part, but the whole family element and the crime family, and coming from, you know, being a black-owned business, of course. You know, you don't see that a lot on TV, and this show in such a short period of time has picked up. I mean, I remember when I first heard about it, and I was like, oh, it's my boy on that. And then I started I think I watched the first episode, and I knew Darren, I knew Frankie, and I was like, okay, there's 3 guys in here that I know. Let me keep watching this shit. And within the first 45 minutes, I was like, yo, this shit's some fucking fire. So like, what do you feel has been the reason why this show has just caught a blaze like that, especially on BET? Because as you know, BET now is different from BET back in the day. And this show sort of, it gives that old school feel to what BET was in the grittier days. What do you feel that's made this show take off in the way that it has?
The writing. I mean, the writer is, and the creator is Carl Weber. He's a 30-time New York Times bestselling author. Okay. And he has the books. You know, the show is based off of the books, The Family Business 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It keeps going. So if you read the books, you can understand what's happening. So they're just a recreation of these books. And he's a phenomenal writer, and the casting was very delicate. I think it was delicately put together, because everyone on this show gets along, and people can see that everyone genuinely loves and cares for one another, and it's a real family. You wouldn't think that it isn't. So the casting was so well done, and that's why I think when you have a good writer, you have a good plot, a good storyline, and you have people that are passionate about it, that just fit the role, and you learn and you develop, and you're exploring these characters, and they give you, you know, the director, Trey Haley, he's phenomenal. He lets you go and do what you want to do, and if he has to bring you in, he'll bring you in. But the fans are so receptive to it, and you just keep on going, buddy. You just keep on going.
So being on a show with all these, you know, amazing black talent, and then Latino talent, you know, and just a diverse cast, I want to ask you personally, what does representation mean to you?
Repeat that one more time. I'm sorry. My phone is going off.
What does representation mean to you when you're taking on certain roles that's representing the black culture? What does representation mean to you?
Well, this is this is a fictitious storyline, meaning that, there are families that are drug dealers, and they're in, people go to prison, they go out. We're storytelling. I just try to represent and bring Junior Duncan to light that can relate to as many people as possible. I'm the more sensitive one. I can be a killer if I need to. I love my woman unconditionally. The woman I'm with, who her name is Sonia on the show, and everyone. I do the best I can to represent the character that I'm portraying. Everyone, as a black man, I do the best I can to be as articulate as I possibly can. But sometimes the character doesn't warrant that. But thank God my character, we're sophisticated killers. But
do you feel? But do you feel that on TV, like as I said, like you said it yourself earlier, like when people obviously first see you before you even open your mouth, they see this big dude, and they get obviously intimidated by your size. But then when they get to know you and know you're such a personable person and a nice guy and et cetera, like, do you feel that plays like, is that important to you when you're playing a character, to make sure that, as a black man and being a father and your daughter obviously eventually seeing the show, that it represents black culture to the highest level of, because as you know, I mean, you don't see a lot of shows that have the intelligent, sophisticated mindset of a black guy playing a role that usually, as I said, were portrayed in certain aspects of gangsters and drug dealers and killers. And
but if,
so for
you're following the show, you will know by watching it that the writer, Carl Weber, he shows the importance of family. We're a very tight knit family, and if you see and you're watching season 2, and you could see that I'm engaged, to get married, you could see that family is everything. The family is everything.
So what's the differences between Junior Duncan and Sean Ringgold?
Junior Duncan ain't got 100 million. I mean, Sean Ringgold ain't got $100 million. Don't have a private jet or a yacht, or I don't have bodyguards around me. It's just me, bro. It's just just me and my sidearms. But that's just the reality. That's the character. But a lot of things that come out of Junior, that are in Junior Duncan, come from who I really am in real life. You know what I mean? I like the better things in life. I like to take care of myself. I love to love, and I'm genuine and I'm sincere, and I think I'm perfectly imperfect.
So for you,
I'm not afraid to make mistakes, and just I think people connect to the realness, and that's all I've ever tried to be. I have nothing to prove to nobody.
So last few questions, and then we're going to take a couple fan questions, and I'm going to let you go.
Brother, I have to go. Yeah. I got to get picked up. I got to be on step 6.
Quickly, in the sense, for you, who inspires you? Is there anybody out there, actor-wise, living or dead?
Oh, wow. I mean, looking at the early works of Sidney Poitier, obviously Denzel Washington, there are a lot of actors that I want to work with. I like what The Rock has done, because just how his humility, he's not cocky, he's a people's champion. Just the way that he carries himself, he has an incredible team around him. He's a great prototype for anybody who will fit that genre. Just a humble, down to earth, and leaves messages for children who are, dying from, life-threatening diseases. He takes time out for the people. So I really respect that a lot of them. A lot of people forget who and what they are, and they think that they all that, and they forget what it is to give back. And I think it's as much as given, much as expected. So I like to see a lot of actors that live by example, not by what they say. They say, "What you say, I do not hear." One's action speaks ever so prevalent. I like watching people that are actually doing the work and giving back. So there are quite a few people. I could be on this platform talking to you about so many different actors that I love and admire, and that I respect and what they do. Not sometimes many things people do that aren't even public. They're not putting it on the gram. They're doing it behind closed doors. God sees what they're doing, and that's why they continue to have incredible careers. But other people will say, "Oh, that person's not doing anything." Some people don't want the attention or the accolades.
Of course.
thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars to different charities and helping out people who are going through very unfortunate situations in their life. Some people don't need the public recognition. I do a lot of things that because I don't need a pat on the back because God has my back. You know, when you understand the power of God, you don't need to publicize everything that you do on the gram or on social media or a PR campaign or a press release to go out. God sees it. And then people say, well, why is this person consistently working? Because I've learned the more that I help motivate and encourage other people, the more
it comes back to you.
Come back to you. People do me dirty or do me wrong, the man upstairs will get you. I hate to say it. When you do wrong, you don't keep your word, you do fucked up shit. I'll tell you something, man. It might be a year, 2, 3 years down the line. The man upstairs is watching, like, he'll get you.
But that's this business, though. I tell people always ask me, like, how have you survived 26 years in the game? Because I say it's about keeping my word. Like, if I say I'm going to do something, I do it. And because people, I think they forget, and both of us coming from the streets, they forget, like, you know, in the day, if you did something dirty, like, yo, I may catch you up in the club a year from now. And people forget that mentality of, like, if you say you're going to do something, do it. If you say you can't do something, just be fucking real. Like, just be real about it. And I think that's the thing that people, they have this thing to agree to something or say they're going to do something when they're not actually going to do it. And it's just like, yo, keep it 100 with me. And then we don't have a fucking problem. But people, as I said,
in this business, it's not what you do, it's how you react. Some people will just do you wrong, and it's unfortunate. Some people will just do you wrong, and you know what you do? Learn from it. You know, if you make that mistake again, that's on you. You learn from it, you move on. But remember this, man, and I have to leave after this, bro, because my
phone getting. And I was even to do one plug before you go, but then we'll let you go.
Check this out. What God has in store for you, can no man or woman forsake.
Okay.
Remember that in your success. I tell this to all, and I want to give a shout out to everyone that's with the comments. I'm sorry I can't answer everyone individually. I love you, and I appreciate all the love and support and the kind comments that have been coming on the feed. I love you guys. You know, I'd like to call everybody out by name, but it's impossible. I love you, and I appreciate you. But remember this, in no matter genre that you are working in, your success is your greatest revenge. You succeeding is let them spit on you for now. Let them talk bad about you. Just succeed and win. You don't have to say anything. When you are able to have freedom to do what you want, when you want, be able to put your kids in a school district, a blue ribbon school district, be able to travel when you want and not worry about how much, game over. That's what I'm aspiring for, to be able to do those things and not have to worry about it, ever say, how much? Just live, have freedom, have time to spend with friends and family, to be able to do things and not worry about, oh, I got to go to work. I don't want to work for you. I wish everybody the utmost success. I love and I appreciate everybody that shows me love. Just keep pushing. I try to put out a lot of motivation because a lot of people, they think that they see these people on these Instagrams and they think that a lot of that stuff is real, and it's bullshit. It's bullshit. I don't say a lot of things because I just can't hold my tongue. That's why I don't do a lot of Instagram lives. I will bring it. I can get ugly with it because I know the real. I work behind the scenes. So I know that celebrities acting one way on the gram, but I know they're ugly in their core.
Inside.
Yeah, so I'm like, there's so much fakeism going on out there. But
you just got to do you. Exactly. It's part of the game, and you got to do you. And throwing shade at somebody's, and I think that's the problem with social media. It's like, it's created this false reality for a lot of people, and it also gives people a platform to throw shade and stones, and it's just like, you know what, worry about your own house. You know, and that's what I try to do. I try to stay in my own lane. Like, whatever somebody else is doing, that's what the fuck they're doing. Unless it has anything to involve with my business or my immediate circle, I don't give a fuck. Like, I just don't give a fuck. I'm going to do me. So, like, last question, and then I want you to just give a plug. What would this Sean Ringgold...
You love to drop F-bombs, bro.
Yeah. This Sean Ringgold... Hey, we're keeping it 100, man. We're keeping it 100. What would this Sean Ringgold advice if he could talk to a younger Sean Ringgold before he got into the business? What advice would he give him?
Don't share your goals, dreams, and aspirations with people who aren't qualified.
I like that.
A lot of times we share our goals, dreams, and aspirations with people who aren't qualified to listen or even give the advice, and a lot of people's dreams become crushed immediately. And it sometimes could be your mother, your father, uncle, cousin, auntie. You have to be passionate about what it is you want to do. Be around the support. Be around a good support team. If you have the right support in anything that you're trying to do, it's that much easier. No matter what it is you're trying to do, you have to have the right mentorship, the right people around you, or you have to have a belief in yourself. You have to have confidence. But you build confidence by having little wins that lead up to big wins. People in life have had their teeth kicked in so much they don't know what it is to have a big win, so they can't really try to accomplish or to take on something that could be of a substantial level. Or they reach the success too fast and they didn't go through enough failure, and then they ruin it and make mistakes trying to appease everybody around them by keeping up with the Joneses instead of staying in their lane. That's a loaded question, brother, because there's so much advice to give. I just can't say there's one thing because there's so many things that happen in life to people as they're, evolving as a human being, young man or young woman. Everyone's going through a lot, but I would say if you have the right support and stay around people that support and love you, even when you're wrong, make a mistake, and don't be afraid to say no. Don't be afraid to say I'm sorry. Humility is very important. I think I also wouldn't be where I'm at if I didn't have a certain level of humility. Confidence, a little cockiness is okay here and there, but be able to be empathetic and have compassion to people who are dealing with more struggles than you, that don't have the same advantages, that are struggling financially, whether it's emotionally. People are dealing with all types of abuse, alcoholism. You don't know what's going on in people's lives. My son has sickle cell. A lot of times people say, well, why weren't you here? I was dealing with a sickle cell crisis. I was in the hospital. Like, people don't know what the hell other people are going through. So don't jump to conclusions so fast.
Just be kind, man. It's as simple as I say it. Be kind, man.
Saying, what's up? I didn't hear from you. Didn't call me. Why don't you say, hey, is everything okay with you? I haven't heard from you. Well, just make sure you're okay. So many people are quick to say, oh, forget that person. They don't call me no more.
That's why I check in with you, man, all the time. Even if we don't talk every day, I check in to make sure you're good, your family's good. And it's because, you know what? I understand the game. You understand the game. And the difference is that, you know what? I've always will have love for you. I will always will be rooting for you, man, because you know what? I know what your character stands for. And I think that we need a lot more individuals, not only just in the world, but in our business, to spread that light in the sense to realize that, you know what? This industry, this entertainment, this thing that we love, it's a massive plate. It's a huge plate that we can all eat off of. We don't have to be trying to undercut each other and hurt each other and backstab each other, bottom line, to get ahead, because you know what? We were only as great united than we are apart. And a lot of people seem to forget that. Exactly what you said, like working with the cast, it's about having the right people around you, having the right energy around you, having the right team around you. And that goes with everything in life. You have to have the right team of mentality. People number one, and I've always said, like in the industry, like whether you're in the industry or not, many people want to see you doing good, just not better than them, because they're afraid to, because they're mad, not because you're winning. They're mad because they didn't take they didn't have the balls to step into the game and do the work that you did. And they're like, yo, fuck this guy. And then social media, add that into the mix. I don't like that guy. Why don't you like that guy? I don't fucking know. We just don't like that guy. And you don't even have to have a reason. They don't have to have, they've never met you. They never spoke to you. They've never sat down with you. And again, like people could see you and see you playing, you know, this menacing character on TV and think, yo, that's who the fucking Sean Ringgold is. And it's like, don't judge someone until you speak to someone. Because a lot of times people that you speak, they can bring you the knowledge that you've given the audience here today. You know, I felt, literally, no joke, I felt talking to you today, it was like the conversations I had in the past with DMX. You know, literally just that knowledge of listening and being able, number one, to give, but also give back. Give back in ways that your words today may, someone who's watching who maybe, as you said, going through a difficult time, maybe saying to themselves, hey, you know what? I want to fucking quit this business. I want to quit the game. I'm not cut out for this. But got inspired by listening to your story, seeing your struggle, and exactly what you said, being humble to respect your journey. A lot of people, they don't want to talk about their flaws. They don't want to talk about the things that they went through. They always want to talk about the good things that they've experienced, but not like, hey, you know what? Like I did struggle a little bit. I did struggle a little bit, but for that,
it's a part of the journey, man. And all you can do is just keep going. But I love you, man. But
yeah. So for
really
that, yeah. So yeah. So lastly, I just want you to say, this is Sean Ringgold. You can find me right here on HotTopicsCelebTV.com, but you can also introduce your character as well and what TV show they can find you on and what day. And then just end it with, you can find me right here on HotTopicsCelebTV.com.
All right, so you want me to do that when
so